I guess for the Chargers in 2018, it was a combination of good luck and bad luck. For example, good luck, getting Derwin James to fall to you at the 17th overall pick in the first round. That's tremendous, phenomenal type of luck. Bad luck would be playing in the same division as Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So you can win 12 games and not even win your damn division and have to play an opening round wild card game on the road. Good luck could be that in that first round road playoff game, you get to play a Baltimore Ravens team that was happy and lucky to be there with a young, inexperienced rookie quarterback as a starter in Lamar Jackson. Bad luck being that meant in the next round you had to face the New England Patriots in Foxborough, and it was all she wrote on the season from there. Some good luck and some bad luck for the Chargers in 2018. It's still ultimately a really good season, and now you look to that season to kind of build on it and see if you could potentially take that next step in 2019. Shame you're doing it in Los Angeles where nobody really cares about the team. I wish that team would have never left San Diego. Maybe the organization wishes they had never left San Diego because they've got a long road to go if they think that they're going to really ever get embedded into the Los Angeles market. But the Chargers are a team that you would expect with Phillip Rivers, with some of the pieces they have on defense, that they're going to be a team that people have high expectations for, even with the Melvin Gordon contract situation. He's not going to be in for week one. How long is he going to be out? Is he going to miss half the season? Is he going to come back after a few games? Are they going to get a deal done? Are they not going to get a deal done? And the interesting thing about it is, though, the few games that they didn't have Melvin Gordon last year, they were undefeated. They were just fine without him. And Melvin Gordon didn't exactly show up well in the playoffs himself anyways. So it's one of those things that when you talk about you would like to have Melvin Gordon, absolutely. But they might be able to get by early on without him, and maybe they'll be better off for him not having played early on if they can kind of tread water and stay at 500, a little bit above, get him in at some point in time, and now you got a fresh as a daisy Melvin Gordon heading into the second half of the season, assuming you don't trade him at some point. But then you get the bad luck of Derwin James' foot injury and surgery, and he's going to miss a few months. So it's like just when the Chargers seem to get in a position like, what was it last year? Hunter Henry tearing up his knee and missing the vast majority of the season. It's like consistently the Chargers have to be one of the most snake-bitten franchises just in terms of in recent years. Just bad luck, bad timing, major significant injuries. So hopefully losing Derwin James, having Melvin Gordon out is not going to impact this team too much. I did like what they did in the draft, getting Jerry Tillery at the end of round one. This was a team, one of the glaring holes that you saw last season, especially come playoff time, was their weakness up the middle of their defense. And I think Tillery is a perfect fit for them and a great piece for them to add in that middle of the defense. Then the Nasir Adderley pick, getting the safety from Delaware in round two. Long term, I envision him and Derwin James forming a hell of a 1-2 combination at safety, again, improving the middle of that defense because they certainly needed it. Looking at this team going into the season, what are the biggest strengths? You got Phillip Rivers. He's still a franchise guy, and you could potentially be looking at a marquee signature type of season for Phillip Rivers, especially early on in the year without potentially Melvin Gordon. We could be talking about Phillip Rivers, especially if the Chargers win and win early and win a lot early, potentially being an MVP candidate. Then you look on the defensive side of the ball, you got Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. You got two great edge rushers on opposite sides of each other. So this is a team that can get after the quarterback. You look at their secondary, assuming that Derwin James will come back at some point in time during the season and he'll be healthy. I do like their secondary. They're pretty good against the pass. Their weakness can come in, like I said, in terms of up the middle, especially against the run, and the Patriots really exposed that last year in the playoffs. My question marks for them, first, the offensive line. Not a lot of notable big-name talent up there, and Rivers is not a mobile guy. You don't have Melvin Gordon back there to start the season as a running back. How is Eckler and crew going to handle it? I don't imagine too badly, actually, but it's still a question of how well is that offensive line going to play? How's the running game going to look without Melvin Gordon? I think Eckler will be okay. He's not the same level of talent or player as Melvin Gordon ultimately, but they might have enough to be able to get by, but they're going to need to have at least something. They can't be thought of as a truly one-dimensional team where you're leaning on Phillip Rivers having to throw the ball all the time to Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Hunter Henry and Travis Benjamin. and maybe Eckler out of the backfield, and that's not going to be a great formula for success. And then I still have the question marks about the defense up the middle. While sure, you added Tillery in the draft, you added Adderley in the draft, you don't have Derwin James for a couple of months. I don't know how truly strong you are up the middle. You look at it and you say, can Denzel Perryman stay healthy? It could still be a vulnerability that comes up and bites him in the ass when the games really matter in December and January. Looking ahead to their schedule, I called out a couple of stretches here of games. I look at weeks 5 to 8. It's a challenging stretch of schedule potentially for the Chargers. They host Denver and Pittsburgh in back-to-back weeks, but then they have to go to Tennessee and to Chicago. Those are 4 teams. Potentially you're talking about playoffs with some of them. Yes, even with the Denver Broncos. Again, that's a divisional game, so you never know how those can really play out, especially since they'll be facing Vic Fangio, who's different than what they've been used to facing. You're talking about even up into that point in time, if you don't have Melvin Gordon, that is a star and potential impact player you won't have against some really, really good opponents. So you're gonna want to have to do well and find a way to do well in those games, weeks 10 through 13. You got the bye factored in, but you got the road game at Oakland, then you come home, play Kansas City, then go to Denver. That's a stretch of games right there. You would assume at that point in time that they don't trade Melvin Gordon, that Melvin Gordon will be back in the fold. And hopefully the Chargers won't be too snake bitten by injuries at that point in time. Maybe this will be around the time that Derwin James comes back in the fold as well. And you're looking at a team that's at least close to full strength. I still really like this Chargers team. It might be really hard for them to go 12-4 again this year, but I wouldn't rule it out entirely. The difference between them and the Chiefs is I think the Chiefs are able to score more points and they're just more explosive, whereas the Chargers might be a more balanced, more complete team. In the entirety of the regular season, I just think the Chiefs can be so awesome on offense on most weeks that's going to carry them just to more flat-out victories, whereas the Chargers, if they get to the playoffs unscathed, relatively healthy, their style of play could be more conducive potentially to playoff success in 2019. But you also have a recent history of teams that have rough playoff losses to the Patriots coming back the next year and not doing so well. Look at the Jaguars from 2017 to 2018. The Chargers last year. Now, how are they going to look this year? I still think they're a playoff team. They're probably a 10-win, maybe 11-win team, but I do think they're going to be looking up at the Kansas City Chiefs all season.